Welcome back to the Furnished Mind, and remember, Christ is King. Let's go. We're going to dive into another Elon Musk story here. So thousands of people are reportedly lining up to have a portion of their skull removed and one of Elon Musk's brain chips implanted. So first of all, Elon Musk obviously famously purchased Twitter about a year ago, and that was an awesome thing he did because he was able to reveal him and a handful of journalists that he hand selected were able to release a lot of information regarding Twitter and their involvements on the low with federal agencies, proving that there was a bias towards left viewpoints, and those who are conservative in nature, religious in nature, were censored and or suspended at up to 10 to 15 times the rate as liberal counterparts. So we are thankful for that. But at the end of the day, we have to judge every action individually. We can't just give him a blanket pass just because he did something that's great. And I support what he did as well. I support him a lot, actually. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to just give him a blanket pass just because he did something that I approved of. So let's kind of dive into Neuralink. This is a company he founded in 2016. He had the vision, he talked about it in a couple of interviews, of assisting those who had neurological issues, paralysis, helping people recover feeling in limbs that they once had, and they can, with the assistance of technology, can now find new and improved uses for those limbs. But let's go ahead and just dive into the article and see why people are lining up to get brain chips implanted. So thousands of people have expressed interest in receiving one of Neuralink's brain implants, according to a recent Bloomberg report from one of Elon's biographers, Ashley Vance. Neuralink, which Musk co-founded in 2016, has yet to implant its device in a human, but aims to operate on 11 people next year and over 22,000 by 2030. It's always 2030. If you pay attention to the World Economic Forum, they also use 2030 as their pivot point into the new normal, where you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. It's always 2030, so we have to start paying attention. According to Vance, who said he visited the company's facility 10 times over the course of 3 years. Earlier this year, the U.S. FDA, Food and Drug Administration, gave Neuralink approval to launch human trials of its device, oh boy, which Musk has described as a Fitbit in your skull. The FDA had previously rejected Neuralink's bid for human testing in March. Reuters reported, citing safety concerns, including that the wires connected to the brain chip could move around within the subject's head, or that the chip could potentially overheat. So let's pause here. So anybody else that has a Christian foundation or Christian background and have a general understanding of Christian eschatology, let's go ahead and just dive into some of the implications with the release and support of this kind of technology. So Revelation 13, verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and his number is 666. That's Revelation 13, 15 through 18. How many people, when they read articles such as this, immediately jump to Revelation and thinking of the mark of the beast? Because I know I do. I'm not saying that Elon Musk has evil intent. I don't know his heart. I don't know his mind. I've never met him in person. He's done a lot of good thus far. But it's very possible either one of two things. There is some kind of malevolent intent behind the PR Elon that we're familiar with. The very polished Elon, the guy who's fighting for individual liberties, the guy that's easy to support. Or he's just oblivious to how this technology fits into Christian eschatology. Because For as far as I'm concerned, I don't know Elon Musk to be a religious person. He could be just doing this because this is something that he saw in the world. There's a desire, there's a need that needs to be fulfilled, and he's like, hey, I have the means to do it. This is something I'm passionate about. He could be clueless to what the book of Revelation talks about. And it just so happens, it looks from the outside looking in, he's playing into the hands of what the devil intends for his Antichrist system. So first and foremost, we all should be praying for Elon Musk, that his eyes can be opened, spiritually opened, his heart can be open, to be made new, because we understand that Christ, when he sends you his spirit, he makes you a new creation. So let's go ahead and continue. In September, the company began recruiting for its very first human trial. Neuralink said in a blog post that it is looking for people who had paralysis in all 4 limbs due to a spinal cord injury or ALS. The company eventually hopes to make a device that would create a sort of symbiosis between humans and machines that would allow people to send messages or play games using only their thoughts. But first, the company aims to help people with neurological disorders. So first, in regards to the FDA's objection with Neuralink's first bid, the wires connected to the brain chip could move around within the subject's head, or that the chip could potentially overheat. So Revelation 16:1 says, the first angel went and poured out his bowl on the land, and ugly and painful sores broke out on the people who had the mark of the beast and worshipped its image. I don't think there's a coincidence here. I think that it's very possible that because this is going to be first generation technology, it's very possible that there are going to be people who receive burns due to the overheating of the chips, painful marks on their body due to it moving around and not being as secure within the skull as anticipated. It's not a coincidence that Revelation 16 perfectly highlights this. So Vance, who authored the 2015 biography Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and the Quest for a Fantastic Future, said in his report that despite an outpouring of interest from thousands of prospective patients, the company is still looking for its first volunteer, someone willing to have a chunk of their skull removed by a surgeon so a large robot can insert a series of electrodes and super thin wires into their brain. Musk's biographer says it takes a couple of hours for a surgeon to perform the craniectomy and then about 25 minutes for the robot to insert the device, along with its ultra-thin array of about 64 different threads. The device will replace the portion of the skull that had been removed. Vance said the threads are so thin, they're about 1/14 the width of a single strand of human hair. This sounds frightening. I'm not going to lie. First and foremost, if it wasn't for what I know about the end times and the Antichrist system, I myself, I think this is innovative. This is something I would support. If somebody experienced paralysis in any part of their body, to be able to have the technology to almost, you can say, quote unquote, heal them, or at least restore functionality to those lost parts, that is absolutely amazing. This is the peak of medical and technological advances, all converging here, and it's in a way that can assist people and help them. This is something I would support. This is not something I would want to say, let's stop production on this or let's take our time. But because I know what I know, it sounds like Elon Musk is unaware of the direction he's moving in, and his technology will be used. All the research will be seized in those times, and it'll be used for what the Antichrist uses as his mark, that no man may buy or sell without this mark or the number of his name. And the last part of this article I wanted to take a look at is something that was a red flag. Right here, he says, the billionaire has also warned that Neuralink needs to pick up its pace like the world is ending. I'm going to repeat that. The billionaire has also warned that Neuralink needs to pick up its pace, quote, like the world is ending, to keep up with AI and the possibility of an AI being that wouldn't be friendly to humans. Yet while Musk's maniacal sense of urgency might work at Tesla or SpaceX, where he has initiated sprints and slept on the factory floor to meet deadlines, at least one Neuralink executive has taken a note of caution. So he wants us to pick up pace like the world is ending. Yes, it has to do with competition, he says, like due to like Synchron and other companies, but Once again, 2030, I believe, has spiritual implications. It's not a coincidence that the World Economic Forum usually cites 2030 as the pivot into their new world order. That Elon Musk just stated that they want 22,000 individuals to be implanted by 2030. These are not coincidences. I believe there's a spiritual implication with the year. In my opinion, the 2020s might be our last decade of normal, whatever that may mean. My personal definition would be, when I say last decade of normal, is our last decade of, let's say, individual liberties. At the end of the day, folks, when we hear and see headlines such as this, we should be comparing everything to Scripture, because if you're a Christian, the Bible is your compass here on earth. God gave it to us. We can measure anything against it. All falsehoods can be measured against it. Anything that makes a declaration of truth, anything that can shake the world that we live in and can take us in a completely different direction and place us on a brand new trajectory, all of it should be measured against Scripture. I also believe we should be praying for our leaders. Unfortunately, we have a president that's trying to see the destruction of our nation. Elon Musk, I believe, is not necessarily religious, but he's being used indirectly to usher in technology for the Antichrist system. In conclusion, guys, what kind of safeguards, protections can we place to prevent this from being the technology of the Antichrist system? My belief is there probably isn't. But if I'm missing something, you guys let me know. I think the Scripture is going to be true. I think it's going to be fulfilled, and a lot of these things are going to happen. It's my personal opinion that I don't think Elon Musk is a religious individual. I think he's unaware of Christian eschatology. I think his technology will be used for the beast system that comes in the end days. Whether or not he's a voluntary participant, we will not know that until the last days, obviously. But you guys let me know your thoughts. Elon Musk, what he's doing here with Neuralink, will it be a force for good? Will the good outweigh the bad? Let me know down in the comments. Other than that, you guys comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again with another video. Deuces.